August of last year, I had the opportunity to go to New York City, which is one of my dreams ticked off my bucket list. I decided to go alone, and it was my first time traveling abroad, my first time traveling alone as well. And I felt like this was the monumental part of my life where I was supposed to do that. And I knew it would be hard, I knew it would be challenging, but I also knew that it would lead me to new parts of myself, new realizations. I remember I first got to LA, had major travel sickness, then had to get on my flight to New York feeling so ill, which was not a fun time. But we got there. I didn't know how I was gonna make it through, but I did. I mustered up the courage. I was like, all right, we've made it this far, we've got to keep going. I was in the back of the car on my ride to the hotel, and the driver was so lovely. He was telling me about the city, and I saw the city from the bridge as we were driving along, and it was just the most beautiful time of day. The sun was about to set, and everything was just kind of washed with this golden light. I was in love with the fire escapes and all of the movie posters and everything. When I got to the hotel, I didn't even know what to do with myself. Honestly, I was tired and exhausted from being sick and from having just a humongous stint of travel, which I've never done before.
That chair really scares me. What's it doing there? What's its story? There were kids playing this morning and the chair just stays there. No one moves the chair, and it's concerning. I want to know more.
Gilmore Girls was my comfort show throughout this entire trip. I had to have it on in the background to go to sleep, otherwise I couldn't sleep. But the view from my hotel was incredible. I stayed at Moxie, which is a really great place to stay. I do highly recommend it. I would definitely go back there and stay again. I ended up getting a pretty good sleep the first night. I was a little homesick, but I felt okay. And the next day I woke up and I was ready to go explore. There was a photo booth that I really wanted to go to. Unfortunately, I lost my first little photo strip from there, but ended up going back the next day to get another one. And I also sent off some letters to some literary agents with some poetry in the back. In the beginning, I really wanted to try and figure out whether New York was somewhere I'd want to go next. I'm a little bit like a bird that can't land anywhere for too long. So once I've explored one city, I'm on to the next. And I love Sydney with all my heart. I think I've had a lot of time to contemplate and think on it. And I think I want to use Sydney as like my home base. I can be close to the beach and the forest and true to what feels good to my soul. But I really just want to open up my job opportunities overseas, get a visa, and really just spread my wings and fly in and out and all over the place and just be a free little bird living her best life. But wandering the streets, I just kind of quickly felt like I have lived there before. If past lives are a thing, I'm sure I've spent one in New York because I just seem to know how to navigate the place unusually well for someone who has never been there before. And I kind of put that to the fact that Sydney is also a very walkable city, so I find myself just navigating that city pretty naturally as well. But there was just something about New York that was like, I have been here before and I've done this before. Weird, I don't know. Do you believe in that stuff? Let me know. I filmed a lot, and I really thought that I was going to put it into a vlog as soon as I got home, but it just didn't even feel right because I was still contemplating so many thoughts and feelings that I had on the trip. I just felt like it wasn't ready. It was a seedling and it wasn't ready to sprout yet. And now that I've had a lot of time since then to think and to grow, I'm ready to put it all together, all the footage, and not have it so much as a vlog, but more of a reflection on my time. And I think this would be great for older me to look back on. I just couldn't stop walking. I walked everywhere. I walked so much. I saw a lot of things, most things by foot, and that was a really cool experience.
Hi. I wanted to have a little heart-to-heart on here for a second.
because I've spent the first portion of this trip so homesick, so anxious. I've never been overseas before. I've never traveled alone before. So this is like a double whammy, and it was really overwhelming at first. And I think what made it worse was I was trying to get to sleep at regular times, and like trying to keep a good sleep schedule. But when I started to just accept the fact that if my body wants to stay up until 5 a.m. in the morning, it'll do that. And instead of going back to sleep this morning, I walked to Washington Square Park, and then I explored so much of the city, and I was so happy. And tonight I had dinner by myself downstairs at the bar, and then I walked along the Manhattan Bridge and looked at the Brooklyn Bridge. Being outside and immersed in it all, I was like, this is what it's about, you know? And now I'm just gonna be in here, watch my show. I'd usually be like breaking down by now with homesickness, but I feel so happy and invigorated, and I think maybe that's the key, is finding what really works for your body. And what I've discovered is that you have to be so intuitive with your body and what it needs in order for it to work. Otherwise, you'll just be fighting against yourself, and it makes anxiety so much worse. So even though my sleep pattern is so weird, so whack, I'm so much happier. And like inevitably, I know that anxiety will pop up again here and there, but tonight is a monumental moment because for the first time I feel so happy and like I got this, you know? So I just wanted to share that. If not just for future Ash, to just show you that we did it. We did it. Oh my God. Anyways.
I ended up getting really crippling anxiety that just felt immovable. And I was ringing my mom and my dad and friends, and I just thought, I don't know if I can do this. But it took one night where I could not sleep, and instead of forcing my body to sleep, I just ended up staying up through the whole night and then getting up the next day and exploring once I had just laid down for a little bit. And that helped. Immediately after that, I felt good as new, like I was home. No homesickness, no anxiety, just pure love and excitement for the whole experience and just gratitude. I really could sit into my gratitude, and I could really look over the city in the morning light when there's not many people around. I mean, that was just enchanting. You go out in Sydney and people are up at the crack of dawn. People rise with the sun here, but in New York, it's 8 a.m. in the morning and the streets are dead. There's no one there. It's just you and your legs, and you can walk around and bask in the glow just bouncing off all of the buildings and the trees, and it's so magical. And I really felt triumph in that moment because something that felt so impossible to me and so out of my own strength that I thought I had, I realized I made it through. I did that. I didn't throw the towel in, I pushed through, and as a reward for that, I just got to experience so much. No matter how crippling your anxiety can feel sometimes, you got this. You can do so much more than you think you can, and you're so much more powerful than you probably think you are. It's really important in life to give yourself the opportunity to prove it to yourself. You kind of have to throw yourself into certain situations in life where you can really put your strength to the test and put your perseverance to the test and see how far you can go. Obviously, do this safely, but challenge yourself, because I came back to Australia a totally different person. I met the most incredible people at restaurants. There was an adorable guy, Giovanni, who I met. He was working at the Italian restaurant that I went to sit at, and he was so lovely. We still are in contact to this day. I can't wait to go back and catch up But there was so many beautiful people that I met along the way that I just wouldn't have if I wasn't in my element and there to experience the experience as a whole without anxiety muddying the waters and making my vision blurry and my thoughts cloudy. I kind of learnt to surrender to the experience. I found a healthy balance where I could make my own judgments and trust them. I could trust my own judgment because I felt so safe in my own company because I had gotten myself through so much anxiety. I did a lot of this stuff alone. I really just sat into my solitude in this time. I had an incredible shoot with a photographer, David, who took some amazing photos of me. He was so lovely, showed me around the city, introduced me to my first slice of New York pizza, which was very good. And another person I hung out with was a guy called Jay, who ended up showing me the city and showing me Times Square at night. And it was amazing to see the city through the eyes of someone who's lived there their entire life. That in itself is a whole new experience. And that also just opened me up to such a travel bug where I really want to do that more. Learn people's stories from around the world and see their home through their eyes. New York is definitely somewhere I would like to get to know more. I was so upset when I left because I felt like we were only just getting acquainted with each other and my heart was opening up and blossoming. And just when I was at the pinnacle of that or about to reach a pinnacle of that, I had to go. But it was bittersweet because I knew that I would be back inevitably. This trip was undeniably one of the pivotal points of my life. And I think I'll remember it for the rest of time. If you have the means to, I think everyone needs to go on a solo trip. It's hard. It's hard. I was looking up, when I got really homesick, I was looking up videos of anyone else who was struggling with travel anxiety. Let's add this video into the mix. If you're traveling right now even, or thinking about traveling and you're just super anxious, or you're doing things alone and it's making you super anxious, just know that it's in you. There's a fire in you, and it is just waiting to burst out and show you how powerful you are. You can do this. It's that simple. You can do it. And tell yourself, even if you don't believe it at first, just tell yourself you can do it. You got this. You're a safe zone within yourself. You're your own best mate. You got this. It might be hard, but find your things, whether that means pulling an all-nighter to adjust your sleep schedule, sleep pattern. I know that's not recommended, but it helped. It worked for me. If that's putting on your favorite comfort show to go to sleep, or having little times of the day where you check out, go back to your room, reground, recenter, or whether that's meeting other people, do that. Find it, do it, and just live each moment by each minute, each second. Just be in the now. Don't think about the later. Just live. You gotta just try. If worse comes to worse and you do need to throw in the towel, that's okay too. That's fine. Next time you'll be able to make it all the way through, I promise you. So I think that's more this video I think was destined to become more of a summary or more of a reflection video to document to myself that I did it and to talk about the fact that it's possible. Maybe this is just a good little checkpoint video in life. Apologies that it's so late, but nonetheless, I'm glad it exists and I'm glad that we got to have this talk. And yeah, if you have any travel plans, let me know in the comments, and I think I'll leave it here. I love you so, so incredibly much, and you got this. Whether you're doing big things or small things, take a leap, take a challenge, and just do it scared. It's better to do it scared than live in regret. Trust me. That is all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will talk to you very soon. Baci. Ciao.